In 1456, there were fewer than 60 copies of Gutenberg's Bible in Europe. By 1500, there were more than 15 million printed books in circulation. How did this happen? The greatest crisis in human history happened the century prior, when the Black Death decimated half of the world's population. This led to the end of feudalism, a shift in power away from the elite, and an unprecedented wave of creativity, art, and innovation. This movement represented an awakening later known as the Renaissance, which empowered anyone who chose to embrace a mindset of abundance. All of a sudden, people had freedom of thought and could realize dreams they'd never imagined before. Anyone could learn a skill, build a business, live with purpose, and capitalize on their unique talents, leaving a legacy for future generations. The Renaissance was the rebirth of a hope that had been repressed for over 1,000 years. Fast forward to today. The world is repositioning for a new normal as we recover from the disruptive effects of COVID-19, the growth of AI and technology, and the expansion of Wall Street growing their market share in real estate, and of course, the ever-changing consumer. We're already well into the information age where consumers are watching 1 billion hours of video content on YouTube every single day, a number that's only growing. This mirrors the expansion of human thought and communication that occurred after the Black Death, and it's hard to deny the similarities between the conditions that led to the Renaissance then and now. The world is on the cusp of a rapidly evolving movement of free thought and creativity. Importantly, realtors are on the cusp of a real estate renaissance that will separate the wheat, the innovative leaders, from the chaff, the dinosaur agents. We have a choice: evolve with the industry and reinvent ourselves, or cling to the old ways of doing business and slowly die. That is a passage from my new book, The Renaissance Real Estate Agent: How to Unleash the Art of Systems in Your Business.
Wow, Jen, that was awesome. So tell me, why did you write this book for the agent community?
You know, Dana, I've always had a love affair with real estate, and I really understood what the power that real estate has to build wealth and legacy. And I really think back to my great grandma, who I really feel emulates the American dream. Now, she came here from Ireland away from a war. She had to work 7 years in indentured servant just to have her right to own real estate,
Wow.
And I grew up on that farm as a kid. Now, riding motorcycles, not chickens. But I really see the sacrifice that she was willing to make coming from another country, and just how we have this freedom at our fingertips to build home, wealth, legacy, love.
That's incredible. So for agents specifically, I mean, how would you say the impact is on like their businesses?
I've been in the real estate industry 19 years. I've been up and down in some market swings. And right now we're in the midst of a market swing. But what I'm seeing right now is not just the market changing, but the actual industry itself. And we are in a technology and social revolution. It's also, we have to level up at a record pace to keep up with where the industry is going. And, I like to think of it as a renaissance, an ending and a beginning, a rebirth. And while we still need to master those foundations, those skills with clients, with teams, with building collaboration, at the same time, we also have to be scaling with technology, leveraging people better, leveraging systems, technology, social to our advantage. And it's kind of a death of the old guard agent, I like to say. The agent with Rolodex and faxes offers, one transaction at a time, doesn't collaborate, doesn't grow, doesn't leverage, and into the Renaissance real estate agent. And that real estate agent is going to be collaborative, because everything I put into this book, I learned over 19 years from mentors, from coaching, from experience, from some mentors outside the business.
So Jen, 19 years in the business. I've heard you mention a lot of times the real estate agent roller coaster. Can you explain to me what that is?
All right, the real estate agent roller coaster we have all been on at one time or another, and sometimes we get back on, have to get back off, but pretty much what a real estate agent does is they go and when they need business, they go and they market, they prospect, they call their clients for referrals, they are doing open houses, they buy leads and they're nurturing these leads, and then they get busy. They go show houses, they go on listing presentations, they get the business. Now they have a few in escrow, maybe more. And they're servicing the escrow, keeping the deals together, the appraisal, the signing, your client's welcome gift. And then you're excited. Just sold, just closing day, I have 4 closings this week. But then they look and they're like, all of a sudden their pipeline is thinned out. They don't have a pipeline. They're like, crap. And those leads that I had nurtured, I forgot to follow up with them, and I forgot to continue to generate business because we were so focused on servicing the business we had, and we're not leveraged. And so they go back, they're following up, they're doing open houses, and they're generating business again, only to still be burned out at the end of the day because they have worked so hard, and they were accomplished just a few weeks ago. It was doing so well. But really what they've done is they've been on this roller coaster of generate, burnout, win, and then
back down to the bottom again.
Then back down to the bottom,
right.
And it recycles over and over. And it's until you change, you put systems in place, leverage into place. You have you never let your eye off the ball of generating business, of following up with your business. And, there's an art to it, and there's systems to everything. But when you really learn to leverage off systems, people, technology, and you're operating your sphere of genius, your highest dollar activities to be doing every day, you can get off that roller coaster. So it's not sporadic, and now you have a more consistent business, one that doesn't fluctuate, week by week.
So Jen, what would you say your biggest mistake in your real estate career has been?
Wow, that's a lot of mistakes, Daniel. And is a mistake really a mistake if you've learned from it? Because one of my biggest mistakes is putting all my eggs into one basket, not planning for the future. And back in 2008, I was buying every single family rental property the bank would allow me to have. I had multifamily, I was building luxury homes, and I wasn't forecasting for the future. So when the market caught up and changed quickly in 2008, I wasn't positioned. And if I would have changed before I had to change, instead of when I had to change, my trajectory would have been a whole lot different. But learning from that now, and especially, the mentors I have today versus the mentors I had back then,
right.
I not only just learn to forecast for the future and plan and know that there's going to be change happening, but I'm also learning from their mistakes, and I'm not making the same mistakes. So the collaboration and the changing before you have to change would be one of the biggest things that I would say to agents. Look at this in honest self-reflection, and if you have to change, do it today.
So that's a really great thing about having an agent community is you can learn from other people's mistakes, and you don't have to make those same mistakes. You'll make a bunch of new other ones, right?
And you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And back then I was trying to do it alone. I was very isolated, and this was not back in 2008 and 2009. Mastermind started to pop up, but it wasn't like the opportunity today where there's almost too much to plug into. But when I look at the people that I'm getting my advice from, the people I'm listening to, it's the people that they're at where I want to be, or they're growing there, and we're growing there together. So I'm no longer trying to do it alone. So that collaboration piece is probably the number one recommendation I would have to any entrepreneur, but especially real estate agents in the industry that is moving so fast.
So you talk a lot about, collaboration, but you also talk a lot about systems, and you talk about being an artist of systems. Can you explain to me what that means? I think most real estate agents don't think they're artists of any kind, so explain that.
I'm no Leonardo da Vinci, but I believe every human is an artist because we all have our own gifts to share with the world. And with realtors, we all have our own strengths, we have our own weaknesses, our sphere of genius. And when we're operating in our strengths and we're leveraging out for our weaknesses, whether people, systems, technology, and truly it is an art to the different systems. But when you master that, you have a playbook, not just for your professional life, but for your personal life. So you're able to take time off to go see your kids' plays, or go to your kids' games, to have vacation. All the important things we work so hard for, but I see so many agents struggle to operate their business as a true business that is able to pay them when they take time off. And I remember looking for the corner in my hotel room to be able to take business calls. There was really no way to live, and it wasn't really a great thing for the client. Hey, I'm trying to go to the pool. What do you need?
Right.
So. By really mastering, knowing who you are as an agent, what you bring to the table, where you want to spend your time and growing, it's operating in your own artistic way and having a system for it.
So it's like bringing creativity into business ownership.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And creativity is underrated. We all have the ability to be more creative. And when we are more creative, we're operating in our highest and best use.
So we're embracing our inner Leonardo da Vinci's, even if we're...
Yes, we all have a little Leonardo da Vinci in us, believe it or not.
I love that. Awesome. Well, Jen, this has been so amazing. Would you mind reading us one more passage before we go?
Absolutely. 87% of real estate agents don't even renew their license after the first 2 years. Here's why. Realtors are only required to go through 90 hours of schooling. To put that into perspective for you, if you want to get your beautician's license, you're required to complete 1,100 hours of education. And then you have to undergo an apprenticeship. Yet realtors who are responsible for selling, in most cases, the biggest asset of someone's life, are only required to undergo 90 hours of education. It's easy to get into real estate and just as easy to fall off the wagon. The bottom line, you're doomed to fail. But have no fear. You're already taking the first step to avoid becoming a statistic by reading this book and taking extreme ownership to develop yourself to the fullest.